So this will be a pretty good indication of what you're going to see on the quest. Mark your own. Get to meet my favorite student. Good old Ann Serkey. Yeah, I bet you there's still someone here who hasn't got the joke, but we'll find out. Express in scientific notation. So on your quest, I'm probably going to give you 4 or 5 questions. The first 4 or 5 are going to be like this. It's going to be right in scientific notation. So 5.5 times 10 to the 4th, yes? Half mark for the 5.5, half mark for the times 10 to the. 4.2 times 10 to the negative 3 or negative 2? Negative 2. The trickier one is doing decimals in scientific notation. 3.64 times 10 to the negative 5. And 1.236 times 10 to the 7. I belong to a BC physics teachers email forum, and it's funny because right now there's a massive discussion going on sig figs and how useless they are and why we're even teaching them. So if you flunk my course, who knows, maybe next year I won't be covering sig figs. But anyways, here we go. I'm multiplying 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to give my final answer to 2 sig figs and in scientific notation. 7.1 scientific notation, negative 4 times 3.6 scientific notation, negative 7. I got an answer back in scientific notation. 2 sig figs, the 5 is the second sig fig. Is that 5 going to stay a 5 or become a 6? So 2.6 times 10 to the negative 10. Half mark for the 2.6, half mark for the times 10 to the negative 10. 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. 1.42 scientific notation button, negative 5, divided by 4.3 scientific notation button, negative 15. This is going to give me a pretty big answer, I think. Oh, write it in scientific notation. The second sig fig is that 3. The second 3, is that 3 going to stay a 3 or become a 4? So 3.3 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah? Yeah, 9? Yeah? Ooh, Mr. Dewick, this one's a bit trickier. I have to write this out. So 0.0060. I've got to put that second 0 in since they included it in the original number. And 0.00035. Well, this is to 5 decimal places. This is to 4 decimal places. My final answer is going to be to 4 decimal places. I'll type in what they gave me. 6.0 scientific notation, negative 3 plus 3.5. Did you make a silly mistake? Is it going to irritate you? Will you do it on the test? No? Good, then it was worth it. I get 0.00635, so my calculator spits back 0.00635. If we were multiplying, I would go to 2 sig figs because it's 6.0 and 3.5. We're adding and subtracting. I have to go to decimal places, and it looks like that's the smallest number of decimal places, but it is a 0 because they did put it there. Why would they have put it there? So I'm going to go to that decimal place. Is that 3 going to stay a 3 or become a 4? So it's going to end up becoming 0.0064, and now in scientific notation, 6.4 times 10 to the negative 3. Sorry? 6.4. Thank you, Candy, for you. 6.4. That's what I said. 6.4. Sorry, I'll write it neater so you can see it next time better. Psst. Did I put adding and subtracting with sig figs and scientific notation on your first quiz? So yes. Did I put it on your second quiz? So yes. Not going to bother putting it on your quest. So you won't see number 3. Ooh, number 4, unit conversion. Write down what they gave me. Seconds is on the top. It's going to go on the bottom. I want to end up in milliseconds. I want to end up with that on the top. Milli is 10 to the negative 3. Is that correct? Where does the 10 to the negative 3 go? Where the milli isn't, which in this case is on the bottom. Do you get 3,000? Or 3 times 10 to the 3. Okay. B is a 2-step because I'm going from kilo to mega. I'm going to go from kilo just to plain old grams to mega. Write down what they gave me. Kilograms on the bottom, just plain old grams. Kilo is 10 to the 3rd, yes? And it goes where the kilo isn't, so in this case on the top. Then grams on the bottom, milligrams on the top. Milli is 10 to the negative 3. It goes where the milli isn't, which in this case is on the bottom. So it's going to be 25 times 10 to the 3rd divided by 10 to the negative 3rd. I might get an answer in scientific. No, not quite. 25 with 6 zeros, I would give you full marks. It's less work for me to write this in scientific notation, so I'm going to write 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. And that is milligrams. But a 2, 5 followed by 6 zeros, I would give you full marks. Next page over. 3,240 gigagrams into micro. Oh, this is going to be big. Write down what they gave me. I want gigagrams to cancel, so just grams on the top. Giga. 10 to the 9th. And it goes where the giga isn't. And then I want grams to cancel. Micrograms. 10 to the negative 6. I've kind of memorized these just because I've taught them so much. Oh, and it goes where the micro isn't, which in this case is on the bottom. It's going to be 3,240 times 10 to the 9th divided by 10 to the... I think my calculator is going to give this to me in scientific notation. 3.24 times 10 to the 18? Or a 3, a 2, and a 4 followed by 16 zeros if you chose to write it out longhand. I wouldn't. Times 10 to the 18th. 4.6 decades into seconds. 4.6, I'm going to use DEC for decades. I don't know. Well, 10 years is 1 decade. That would get me into years. 1 year is 365 days. Now, if you happened to have memorized the fact that there's 8,760 seconds in 1 year just because we did it so often in the lesson, you can use that if you want. I haven't bothered memorizing it. I have it right now because I taught it to all of you, but I know in 3 weeks it won't be in my brain anymore, so I'm going to keep going. I can go from days to hours, 24, but I can use cadence shortcut and go from hours to seconds, 3,600. And so now it's going to be 4.6 times 10 times 365 times 24 times 3,600. Do you all get That 14506560000. If you wrote that out, great. That's a lot of writing. I guess 1.450656 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you round it off to 1.45 times 10 to the 9th because you just got sick of writing all that, I'm fine with that. I'll write 1.450656. 1.450656 times 10 to the 9th. Did anybody write anything else different or weird? Yeah. 1.5 times 10 to the 9th? I'll live with that. We've rounded off a little bit. The fact, Hannah, that there's a 0 right there, to me, makes that a good place to round off to. Whatever. Is that a stretch, Logan, or a... Okay. Duick. Jeez. E is tough. I don't think I put one as tough as long as E on your test. I did put one where you've got to convert a top and a bottom, but I don't think it was this hideous. So let's find out. Write down what they gave me and put the kilometers on the top and the nanoseconds on the bottom. And do you see what I mean, Garrett, that we're running out of letters? This lowercase m, I know that's meters because it's to the right of the kilo. If it was in front, well, then that's milli. We just don't have enough letters to go around. What do you want to get rid of first, folks? Kilometers or nanoseconds? I don't care. Pick. Kilometers. So it's going to go here and 10 to the third on the top. And then I need to bring in centimeters. So meters on the bottom, centi on the top, and the 10 to the negative 2 on the bottom, I think. If I stop there, that's centimeters per nanosecond. Now I got to go from nanoseconds to teraseconds. I have no idea what this is going to work out to. I added this question this year because I thought kids needed extra practice, and I might have made up a bad question. I guess nanoseconds on the top because it was originally on the bottom, and just plain old seconds on the bottom. Is nano 10 to the negative 9? And then seconds on the top, teraseconds on the bottom. Tera 10 to the 12th? Sorry, 10 to the 12th goes on the top where the tera isn't. So I guess it's going to be 325 times 10 to the third times 10 to the 12th divided by, I guess, 10 squared and divided by 10 to the negative 9. Oh, it's not 10 squared. It's 10 to the negative 2, Mr. Dewick. Check for typos. Can't read my own writing. Do you get 3.25 times 10 to the 28th, or am I wrong? People are nodding? Woohoo! What a dumb question, Dewick. Shut up. Yeah. I'm going to slightly disagree. It wasn't hard as much as it was just long. Like, honestly, all I can really do now is make more steps. I don't know if we can call that harder as much as just a pain to have all those fractions next to each other. The parrot question is a great example of that, and we'll get to that in a second. This was centimeters per terasecond. I'm not going to be fussy on this quest if you didn't write units next to each answer, but for the remainder of the year, I will be. 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I guess I'm going to round to 2 sig figs. 1.25 times 0.5. I guess the 2. Is the 2 going to stay a 2? 0.63. Is there anybody who wrote that in scientific notation? You did? Oh, no one did? 6.3 times 10 to negative 1. But 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs. I'm going to round to 3 sig figs. I guess the third sig fig is the 2 after the 200. Is that 2 going to stay a 2 or become a 3? 202. 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs, because there's that 0 on after the 6. I'm going to round to 3 sig figs. 4.37, scientific notation button 3, divided by 0.008560. What did I, 3 sig figs. I guess the third sig fig is the 0. Is that 0 going to stay a 0 or become a 1? Making sure did I make a typo? Nope. So it's going to be 511, but it's not 511 because I notice that there's 3 more digits after that that we have to fill in with the zeros. It's 511,000. Is that right? Or 5.11 times 10 to the 5th. Adding and subtracting. Different rule. 3 decimal places, 5 decimal places. I'm going to round to 3 decimal places. Three decimal places is the 5. Is that 5 going to stay a 5 or become a 6? So 38.126. 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place. 512.06 take away 65.2. 1 decimal place is the 8. Yeah. 446.9. Number 6. Okay, I'm waiting. Am I wrong? I might be. I'm kind of riffing here. Am I wrong on any of these? Are we just assuming that Caden's wrong? Yeah, probably. Okay. 48 parrots. What's the conversion factor they gave me for parrots? I guess that one. Where is parrots right now? On the? So I said I'll put parrots there and zebras there. If I do a lowercase z, I always put a line through it. That's a z, that's a 2, because my handwriting is messy. So if you ever see that, that's the letter Z. Just stuff I've come up with over the years to try and not get confused when I look at my work later on. And apparently, 1 zebra is 5 of those. If I stop there, I'm in zebras. Oh, where do I want zebras in my next fraction? On the? Okay. And apparently I can go with monkeys, and you're telling me 8 monkeys is 1 zebra? Cool. And then monkeys and gorillas, and apparently 1 gorilla is 6 monkeys. Okay. Since that 6 is on the bottom, I'll end up dividing by that. Since the 8 in the previous fraction is on the top, I'll multiply by that. And gorillas and lions, and apparently 5 gorillas are 2 lions. That should work, because everything canceled, and all I have left are lions on the top. So I should be able to go 48 times 8 times 2 divided by 5 divided by 6 divided by 5. Do you get 5.12? How many of you got that? I'm impressed. Normally I get maybe half the kids. Now, if you got that 3 out of 3, otherwise, how would I give up part mark? Yeah? Oh, there's other ways to get there. I don't know. Show me yours and I can critique it. But this is why I said at the beginning of that lesson, I don't care how you get there. There are ways to get there kind of intuitively. The unit conversion method is, if you don't know what to do, this will get you there. Like I told you, I bailed myself out of a second-year calculus test. There was a question, there's a classic, if you do calculus, there's a classic calculus question that goes something like this. You have a pool that's 1,000 liters, and it's made up of a 30% salt solution. It's draining at 2 liters per second. You're pouring water in at 3 liters per second, and the water you're pouring in is 40% salt solution. After 5 minutes, what percent of the pool is salty? Okay, you can hear all sorts of percentages, and you can kind of see, oh, we're pouring in a slightly stronger salty solution, but we're also draining some out at the same time. It's an interesting question. You can get there in 2 lines using calculus. And I remember I set up like a 15 long chain, and I got there because my final units had percentage per salt per liter. So I figured it had to be right, but it just wasn't the easiest way to get there. How would I give this part marks? I would give you 1 whole mark if you wrote down what they gave you. I would give you, if you got this right, 3 out of 3. Okay. I would give you a 2nd mark if I saw that you had tried to build some kind of a fraction chain. So you can get 2 out of 3 and still get this wrong. Oh, and then the 3rd mark is for the answer. Absolute error. Okay. 8 minus 7.6, or 7.6 minus 8, and then take the absolute value, but it's just easier to go bigger minus smaller. The absolute error, 0.4, yes? Meters if I stick the units. Percentage error, 0.4 divided by, what's the correct one? 7.6 times 100. Oh, not times 1,000, Mr. Duke. Do you get 5.2, 5.3, 5.26? I'll go 5. I'll go to 5.26. I don't care. Percent? Is that all right? I'll take 5. Try not to round to 1 sig fig. We'll pretend that we got 2 sig figs in us at all times. In fact, in Physics 12, we just do everything to 3 sig figs in our final answer. But if we're using an answer to find an answer, we'll often carry 5 or 6 sig figs in our work, just so that when we round off at the end, we know we're pretty good. Okay? Can you give yourself a lovely score, please, out of 22? Any lawyering with me? Now is the time.